Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope y'all doing well. Last video's doing pretty good, so I thought I'd upload another video relatively quickly. Fucking clean my glasses. Shit, you can't see anything. So as you can tell by the title, I'm gonna be breaking down my favorite plugins and the top 5 that I cannot live without. So I'm gonna do it in 2 sections. First, I'm gonna talk about the instrument plugins, and then I'll talk about the effect plugins. Now, these are in no specific order, just the 5 that I use. So let's get right into it. All right, so the first plugin that I use in pretty much all my beats within the last year or two, I'm gonna say, is Electra. Electra's a pretty solid plugin. It has a lot of packs that you can download online, and just the amount of sounds that you get from this is insane. So I'm gonna pick a random pack here. My favorite thing about Electra is how easy the ARP is to use. I always use some form of Electra ARP, but a lot of the sounds are very different, which gives you very unique beats. So I like exploring what different packs are available and kind of trying to find a different sound. I'll change the concept of the video. I'll use these 5 plugins and I'll make a beat out of it. So let's try that. Alright, so I had one more Electra plugin, just to kind of show you that there's different sounds you can go with. And I'm just going to find something as simple as like a chord or a pad just to layer that with. Alright, so that's the first plugin I'd recommend getting is Electra, and then download a bunch of packs for it. If you had to stick with one plugin, just stick with Electra. It has a lot of options. Alright, plugin number 2 that I suggest is, I'm not taking into account the load time, so just bear with me here. It's Analog Lab 5. Now this plugin is also very amazing. It has a lot, and I mean a lot of different sounds depending on how many packs you have. Right, so if I just go to my Explore tab, I have tons of different sounds in here, and I can go to my sound banks and let me find a sound bank that I like. So Analog Labs allows you to actually go in and edit some of these presets based on whatever plugins you have from Arturia. I believe you don't need the other plugin to edit this, but I could be wrong. But yeah, you can go in and basically this is what that other plugin would look like. So Analog Lab is kind of like a central suite for all those plugins to kind of communicate, and you can use those same sounds. So if you liked one of the sounds from, let's say, their Juno 6 plugin, for example, you can go in, edit it, and you actually have access to the entire plugin right there. Now, it might not be as extensive as the full plugin, but you can go in and tweak a lot of parameters. Analog Lab is very good for synth sounds, so that's what I'll try and find here. I'll put in a synth sound and kind of make a chord progression. So I just made this simple chord progression. And that's all I'm going to pick from there. Alright, let's go to the next plugin, which I really like, and that is Expand. Expand was used a lot for like trap beats, and I think it was used for, don't quote me on this, electric beats, but I could be wrong. There are a lot of sounds in here, a lot of different random stuff. Some of them are really hit or miss, but there's a few in here which I think are like absolute diamonds. So let me go in. There's one sound effect that I really like. Where is it? Ambient droplets. You get this really reverbed kind of pinging sound, and it makes for very ambient background noise. So if I can just make a little counter melody or even just accent notes on the back, this would be perfect. So this is the ambient melody or the ambient droplets on its own. Alright, so let's add that all together. So we have our 2 Electra plugins, we have our Analog Lab, and we have our Expand. Alright, that's all I'm going to pick from Expand. But the next plugin, this will really add to the kind of ambience, and that's Xenology. Xenology has a lot of lush sounds in here, a lot of pads and a lot of synth sounds as well. I really like the sound of some of their really soft stuff and their lush pads. I don't think I found another plugin that's as close as sounding as good as Xenology. So I think it already opened up to one of the defaults that I always use. It's this PWM soft pad. And it fills a lot of that low end in, so I don't really need a sub bass or anything, but I can still add one. But I like the kind of warmth this has. Xenology provides a really good kind of warmth to the sound, so I use it for a lot of that. But if you go into the plugin and browse, they have tons of presets as well. Let me pick another one that I really like. I think it's this Fantasia. You can tell they have that really kind of soft warmth to them. So I'll leave it as it is. check out Xenology if you want kind of warm synth sounds. And then the last plugin I'll recommend, I've only recently started using this for some of my ambient beats, so it might not work for trap, and that's Sky Keys. Sky Keys is a very basic plugin, but some of the sounds are actually really good. If I go into keys, for example, and I just pick like a random one, that's very sharp, but we can go ahead and EQ it a little bit, and the sounds that we get are pretty solid. I can go in and just change the filter, reverb. Let me turn the reverb off. I'll leave the reverse on. Tone shift, we can keep that all the same. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of layer that counter melody that we made and see what that sounds like. Didn't even tweak anything besides that reverb effect, and it sounds pretty solid. But yeah, they have different like presets in here, like leads, pads, plucks. I'm not gonna go through them all. I like messing around with these 5 plugins specifically. I think the sounds that we get out of them are really good, and I use at least 2 or 3 of them in every single beat that I make. So, I mean, it's up to you whether or not you think that's good that I use them or not. Alright, I hope you guys like this video. It's probably going to be like 15 minutes long, but I'll put timestamps in here so you guys can stay with it. I'll try and finish this beat out and post how I made it. But stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to try and drop more shorts and maybe drop a few gems in the future in those shorts, so make sure you're staying tuned. If you have questions on how to use FL Studio stuff, feel free to join the Discord server, post your questions there. It'll be a lot easier than you trying to reach out in the comments or just DMing me to the side. Hope you guys like this video. I'm PJ. I'm out. Peace.